A 7-year-old child accidentally fell into a deep well. A call was made to 911 reporting a missing child. The rescue team quickly arrived at the scene and began their investigation. Eddie followed the footprints and discovered a well. When the team lowered a camera into the well, they finally spotted the child at a depth of 12 meters. However, pulling the child back up was impossible, so the team calculated their options and placed a drilling machine just south of the well to dig a parallel shaft. But this was a huge risk. If the well's walls were damaged, the entire structure could collapse and bury the child. To establish communication, a radio was dropped into the well so the child could speak with his mother.
Hayden? It's Mommy. Hayden. Hayden, please. Please look up. They're coming to get you. Mom! Oh.
Just when everything seemed to be going according to plan, the weather turned into a nightmare. If the water level rose just a few more meters, the child could drown. Suddenly, a lightning strike shook the workers' area, forcing the entire team to evacuate immediately. The drilling machine acted as a massive conductor and could attract another lightning strike at any moment. Despite all the dangerous conditions, Eddie volunteered to go down the well. The captain, knowing that the radio signal might be lost inside, gave him only 30 minutes. Once time was up, Eddie would be pulled back up. After quickly preparing his equipment, he was lowered into the well. As soon as he reached the bottom, the radio signal was lost. He began digging in a direction parallel to the second well. When he finally broke through the wall, he reached the child.
Hayden! Are you doing okay down there, Hayden?
Eddie grabbed the child's hand, but just then, the 30-minute time limit ran out, and the captain ordered his retrieval. Determined to save the child, Eddie cut the rope and descended to the bottom of the well. When the team pulled up the rope and saw it had been cut, the captain immediately ordered another team member to go down. Meanwhile, Eddie had wrapped the child in a thermal blanket to keep him warm. Chimney descended to check on Eddie's condition. Seeing that both were safe, he breathed a sigh of relief. Eddie insisted that the child be lifted up first. When the child was safely brought to the surface, cheers erupted from above. Just as they were about to send the rope back down for Eddie, a massive lightning bolt struck. The machine exploded, causing the entire well to collapse. Buck began digging with his bare hands to reach Eddie, but he was trapped 9 meters below. Reaching him seemed nearly impossible, as the drilling machine was broken, and waiting for a new one would take hours. As the team scrambled to find a solution, Eddie regained consciousness and tried speaking through the radio, but the signal was too weak to transmit his voice. He decided to dive underwater in search of an escape route. When his oxygen ran out, he had to hold his breath for the rest of the journey. After being underwater for too long, he lost consciousness. However, in a dreamlike state, he saw beautiful memories of his friend and his beloved son. Feeling that he had to survive, he regained his strength. Swimming a little further, he finally reached the surface. While the team was still desperately searching for a way to rescue Eddie, a voice was heard from behind. It was Eddie. When they saw that he had miraculously escaped, they erupted into cheers of joy. Don't forget to comment your favorite 911 character.
A call came in. A young boy was trapped at a high location with a rope wrapped around his neck. The situation was critical. The team quickly arrived at the scene. Time was running out, and the structure the boy was holding onto could collapse at any moment. The team swiftly devised a rescue plan. The stairs were too challenging, so they decided to use the aerial lift. While Dawson climbed the stairs for forced entry, Casey and Cruz prepared the aerial lift. Once the team reached the boy, they began talking to him to keep him calm. Casey spoke to the boy, saying,
Hang on, okay? Stop moving. I don't want you to hurt your neck, okay, bud? Watch his neck. You got a favorite animal, Archie?
Snakes.
Casey smiled and said, "Do you like anacondas or pythons more? I'm an anaconda guy myself." This light conversation helped Archie focus on something else and momentarily eased his fear. The team worked to secure the rope and create an anchor point to keep the boy safe. Dawson brought up the air torches and other equipment, while Archie's mother waited anxiously below. The team coordinated their efforts to both rescue the boy and keep him calm. Archie followed Casey's instructions and acted bravely. Casey reassured him, "This is going to be really loud, so I want you to cover your ear. Be brave. You're doing great." The iron was carefully cut and Archie was lowered down safely. When a call came in, the team quickly sprang into action. A report indicated that a woman had lost consciousness and was experiencing seizures in an empty warehouse. Given the urgency of the situation, the team arrived at the scene with no information about the woman. The team checked for a medical alert break, but found nothing. During the initial assessment, they discovered that her breathing had stopped. A team member promptly instructed, "Establish a tibial line and administer Valium." initiating treatment. However, after the injection, the woman's breathing did not improve, and her condition worsened. Her respiratory drive had been suppressed, leading the team to realize that morphine, not Valium, had been administered by mistake. Narcan was immediately given and the woman's breathing returned to normal. She was then placed in the ambulance and rushed to the hospital. The team received a call about a car trapped under a concrete slab on the 3rd floor of a parking garage. The driver reported that the accelerator had gotten stuck, causing him to lose control and crash under a freshly poured concrete slab. The situation quickly became critical. The slab was on the verge of collapsing. While the first team brought the stretcher, other members assessed the driver trapped inside the car. The vehicle was precariously balanced due to its intact tire. The team began setting up stabilizers and support structure. However, the concrete slab was extremely heavy and unstable. A team member noted, "This slab is going to collapse. We need more support," requesting additional struts and cribbing. One team member suggested an alternative. "We don't have enough time. We can pull him out through the back door." The leader gave clear instruction. "If I give the signal, evacuate immediately." The driver was carefully placed on the stretcher and extracted from the car. A car speeding around a curve lost control and crashed into a pole. The vehicle was wrapped around the pole with a woman trapped inside. The team quickly arrived at the scene and worked to control the crowd, creating a safe space for intervention. The situation was critical. The woman was at risk of crush syndrome as her leg was trapped under the car. Fuel leaking from the vehicle and the freezing water on the ground posed additional hazard, prompting the team to act immediately. The team leader instructed the roof post to be cut and the car to be secured with a cable. The woman's leg was tightly trapped under the car, so the team carefully used mini cutters and lifting equipment to free her. The vehicle was carefully removed from the pole, and the woman was freed without further complication. Her pulse and heart rate were stabilized. The team leader announced, "All right, we can move her now," as the woman was placed on a stretcher. She was transported to the ambulance and survived thanks to the timely and effective intervention. The team received a call about a man injured while trying to climb over a chain-link fence. When they arrived at the scene, they found the man's leg caught in the fence, causing him significant pain. Thankfully, there was no impalement or life-threatening injury. The team decided to carefully free the man from the fence. "Stay calm. We're going to lift you up carefully," said one of the team members. Counting down from 3, they safely pulled the man up and immediately assessed his condition. Just then, a woman's cry for help came from another location. She reported that a man had stabbed her and attempted to rob her. The woman had sustained a serious injury and needed to be transported to the ambulance immediately. The team requested a second ambulance and police backup. "Take deep breaths. We're here to help you," they said to calm her. One of the team members spotted the suspect described by the woman at the scene. The suspect was apprehended and subdued, while the team informed the police of the situation.
Bet he caught his leg when he tried to jump the fence.
The team sprang into action to rescue a car and a woman trapped in a narrow space. The vehicle was so tightly wedged that side access was impossible, requiring a different rescue technique. Gabriella spoke to the woman inside the car to keep her calm.
Allison, you feel any pain?
My head?
Gabriella continued asking questions to assess if Allison had lost consciousness and reassured her.
I know that it's scary, but we know what we're doing. I just need you to give me a couple slow, deep breaths, in and out, in and out.
The space was too tight for standard methods, so the team leader quickly devised a plan. "We'll crack the frame and go in from underneath." Tasks were distributed among the team. Sawzall saws, hydraulic cutters, and other equipment were quickly prepared. The exhaust system and the car's frame were dismantled from below to create access to Allison. The team carefully opened the car's frame and safely removed Allison. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. One team member said, "Great job, team. Excellent coordination," congratulating the group. The team was called to respond to an accident during a dangerous underground event at an abandoned warehouse. Chaos erupted when a DJ launched smoke-emitting boxes, causing a fire that trapped many people inside. The situation quickly turned critical. The team arrived swiftly at the scene, and their leader immediately gave instruction. "Bring the 35-meter ladder, pull people up and evacuate them from the back." The team, equipped with masks, entered the smoke-filled building and began working in a coordinated effort to rescue those trapped inside. One team member climbed up with a ladder to reach a person on the second floor and reassured them, "Hold on tight, I won't let you go." before bringing them to safety. Other team members headed to different parts of the building to evacuate people trapped in the thick smoke. Working together, the team managed to rescue the last person inside and successfully completed the operation. On a chaotic morning, the fire department woke to the sound of an alarm. A man named Garrett had gotten his arm stuck in the gears of a machine, and his condition was critical. Blood loss was increasing rapidly, and the team was racing against time. The rescue team immediately got to work upon arriving at the scene. Power was shut off, and a safe working area was established. The fear on Garrett's face made it clear how serious the situation was.
How you feeling?
Asked one of the firefighters.
Not so good, to tell you the truth.
Garrett replied, his voice trembling. The amount of blood loss concerned everyone. The team quickly devised a plan to free Garrett's arm from the machine's gear. The first step was to loosen the gear. However, the machine was old and some parts wouldn't budge. The team decided to use power tools to dismantle the machine.
Okay, we're just gonna put some morphine in, alright? Give us a minute.
The team leader ordered. Pain relief was administered to Garrett to ease his suffering.
Okay, Garrett, we're gonna try to ease your arm out now, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
But the machine tightened its grip further. Realizing they needed another approach, the team decided to remove the gears and disassemble the part. Drills and hex keys were brought in to take apart the machine. Everyone held their breath as they worked. Finally, the gears were separated and Garrett was free. But the danger wasn't over yet. Garrett was showing signs of crush syndrome, a life-threatening condition. His body was at risk of going into shock, so the team quickly administered saline and prepared him for surgery. Early in the morning, the fire department received an emergency call. A man named Jerry was trapped in the pin setter machine at a bowling alley. He was stuck in lane 9, caught between the metal gears of the machine. The fire crew quickly arrived at the scene. The team immediately assessed the situation. They asked Jerry to move his fingers, but he replied,
The pin setter arm is jammed.
The situation was becoming critical. There's no blood flow. We need to act fast, said the team leader. To free Jerry from the machine's grip, the team called for tools, including drills, bolt cutters, and a saw. They worked carefully and managed to release Jerry from the machine's grasp.
Let's go.
The team arrived at the scene, finding themselves in the midst of chaos. A driver had been shot and lost control of the vehicle, leaving 2 people trapped inside. The car, with a foot stuck on the gas pedal, was moments away from accelerating. A race against time had begun. The car could move at any second. Be careful, warned the team leader. The first priority was to stop the car from moving. Stabilizers were set up and everyone focused on their task. While part of the team worked on securing the vehicle, others prepared to rescue the driver.
Hallie, airbags and Halligan. Cruising Mills.
Shouted the leader.
Watch it. You got it? Good job.
Inside the car, the driver had lost consciousness due to a head injury but was still alive. The team swiftly began using saws and cutting tools. The team carefully dismantled the obstruction and successfully freed the driver. He has a pulse, exclaimed one of the team members, but we need to act fast. First aid measures were initiated immediately. The team supported each other, ensuring no detail was overlooked. When the team arrived at the scene, they were met with a complex and terrifying situation. During a home renovation, a worker had cut a truss to install ventilation duct. However, the cut was too deep, causing the entire floor to collapse on top of him. To make matters worse, the worker had been severely injured by a circular saw during the fall. The team quickly placed struts and cribbing to stabilize the floor and prevent further collapse. The floor is very unstable. We need to be extremely careful, said the team leader. When they reached the basement, the injured man was identified as Howard. His wife, visibly distressed, pleaded to stay with him.
Please, I want her here.
The team allowed her to remain cautiously and continued the rescue operation. Howard had a severe abdominal wound, with his intestines exposed. The doctors immediately administered morphine. Howard, we can't put your intestines back in place right now, said Dr. Troy, but we'll protect them and take care of everything once we get you to the hospital. Hang in there. Howard was carefully placed on a backboard, and the team meticulously prepared the stretcher. However, there was a problem. The area had been placed under lockdown and no ambulances were allowed in or out. Dr. Dean stressed the urgency of the situation. If we can't get him to the hospital soon, he won't survive. The team continued to work determinedly despite the challenging condition. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. Time was running out, and Howard's survival depended on their effort. Finally, the team successfully rescued Howard. Their professionalism, determination, and coordination saved another life. The team received a call. An elevator was stuck on the 25th floor, a family was trapped inside, and the situation was becoming increasingly complicated. The little girl was having an asthma attack, and she didn't have her medication with her. The team quickly sprang into action. Stay calm. Tell your daughter to take long, slow breaths. We're here, and we're going to get you out, the team leader called out. However, the situation was more challenging than they had anticipated. The elevator had stopped at an intermediate level, 50 meters down, and a broken cable weighing 700 kilograms was blocking the hatch. The team realized they couldn't use the top entrance. The team leader quickly devised a new plan. We're going to remove the side panel and build a bridge. We'll get the family across from there, he said. At 300 meters above the ground, there was no room for air. The rescue vehicle was positioned near the side panel. A sturdy handrail system was set up and the rescue operation began. The team calmly reached the side of the elevator. They reassured the family, saying, "We'll get you across one at a time. Trust us." First, the mother was safely escorted across. To calm the little girl, the team leader said, "Sweetheart, just look at me," helping her feel at ease. The little girl overcame her fear and crossed the bridge. Finally, the father was carefully rescued as well. Every step was meticulously planned. When the entire family was finally rescued, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The little girl recovered from her asthma attack with first aid intervention. The team successfully completed a dangerous rescue operation 300 meters above the ground. Late at night, the team responded to an emergency call from an old building. It was suspected that a night cleaning crew might be trapped inside. The team quickly began their preparation. It was discovered that the building was secured with bulletproof glass. Plasma torches and backup equipment were prepared to cut through the glass. However, time was running out. Cutting the glass would take several minutes, but it was soon realized that the frame was wide enough for one of the team members to squeeze through. A team member removed their gear and successfully slipped through the glass frame. Once inside, the team member moved to the other side of the building to open the entrance. Meanwhile, the outside team provided support by locating the panic bar inside to unlock the door. The cleaning staff was found and the panic bar was activated. After a collision, the team quickly arrived at the scene. Two vehicles had crashed and were severely damaged. In one vehicle, two individuals were trapped, one in the cabin and the other in the rear compartment. The other vehicle had overturned, with its roof completely crushed. The team raced against time to rescue the victims from both vehicles. The doors of one vehicle were reinforced, making them extremely difficult to open. The team secured the vehicles with stabilizers and began opening the door. A K-12 saw and other equipment were brought in to cut the roof and reach the victim. Meanwhile, another team member was redirected to assist another injured individual. While extracting the victim from the cabin, the team encountered a critical issue. Despite the risk, the team carefully ensured safety and managed to pull the victim out. Another team member used a short ladder to assist the victim trapped in the rear compartment. During this time, a crowd gathered around the scene, making it harder for the team to work efficiently. The team leader called out to the crowd, "Step back, everyone! We need to create a safe working area." However, some individuals continued to interfere with the rescue operation. Amid the rescue, another call came in. A man had suffered a cardiac arrest on the beach. The team was immediately dispatched. On the beach, a young woman explained that her fiancé had collapsed face first onto the sand, showing no signs of life. CPR and defibrillator intervention were initiated. Multiple shocks were delivered in an attempt to restore his pulse. Everyone waited anxiously for the result. Finally, the man's pulse returned. The team quickly transported him to an ambulance and directed him to the hospital. If you've watched the video this far, please support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel.
The boy actually lived inside a bubble because he was born allergic to air. Just one germ from the outside world could kill him, so his family built a fully sealed room inside their house. Jimmy Livingston spent his entire life in a sterile tunnel, eating filtered food, staring through a window that separated him from the real world. His mother controlled everything: what he watched, what he ate, what he read. No friends, no games, no freedom. But Jimmy had gotten used to it until Chloe moved in next door. From the moment he saw her, everything changed. He spent hours cleaning his window just to see her more clearly. One day, Chloe entered his house and met Jimmy. They quickly formed a bond. They played guitar together, talked, watched shows. Chloe even gave him a guinea pig so he wouldn't be alone. One night, on her birthday, she snuck into his room, sad, tipsy, looking for comfort, but fell asleep before she could get inside the bubble. Over time, Chloe moved on. She got engaged to Mark, an arrogant guy. The wedding would be at Niagara Falls. A few days before, she visited Jimmy one last time. She told him about the wedding and asked, "Do you think he's the right one?" Jimmy stayed silent. Chloe left him a small box and walked away. He didn't open it right away, but when he finally did, he found a handmade snow globe with the words, "I love you." And in that moment, Jimmy made his decision. He built his own bubble, stepped out of his room, and for the first time in his life, sky, felt the real world. Sun, wind, dirt, everything was new. He tried to take a bus, but had no money. He got involved with a cult, was left in the desert, met a biker, went to Las Vegas, played slot, escaped a freak show, joined a paint fight in a bar, set a town on fire with an Indian ice cream man, and even clung to the wing of a plane headed for Niagara. Everyone was after his parents, cult bikers, circus freaks, but Jimmy didn't stop. He arrived just as Chloe was about to say I do. He walked toward her and suddenly collapsed. Everyone thought he had. That's when his mother revealed the truth. Jimmy had developed immunity at age 4. She had lied to keep him close. Jimmy opened his eyes, forgave his mother, and married Chloe. Everyone came to the wedding. Bikers, freaks, cult members, the ice cream man, even his mom's old flame.